Ladies and gentlemen, this is the War Report podcast live every Tuesday. Unfortunately, we're down a few men this evening. You're going to have Steve from Tag Me a Date along with Kat. We're going to run the show for a good part. We may have some guys straggling along the way. Vince is a little under the weather. Eric is in transit from New York back to North Carolina. There's a lot of things going, a lot of things popping. We have a lot to talk about, from Survivor Series to Raw to Smackdown Live to NXT TakeOver. So much to talk that there's no reason why Cat and Ed can't hold it down. Every week we started off with a new theme, kind of the big, what caught us the most, whether it be Raw pay-per-view. And obviously the most talked about thing right now is Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, which reminded me of being back in the 80s and watching a Tyson fight. And we're going to dive more into that as we move along, because we're going to kind of keep it in order, although we're not going to start with TakeOver. We're going to dive right into Survivor Series. But first, Kat, how are you? How's everything going?
I'm doing good, and the fact that you even said the Mike Tyson thing just brought me back to the 80s too, so I am really good right now.
Isn't that great? But how true is it? We would spend $60 to watch a Tyson fight that lasted 30 fucking seconds.
Exactly. That was crazy.
It actually got to a point where my dad actually ordered the Tyson fights for me, and he would pay for it because obviously I was a kid. And after the second Tyson fight, he looked at me and said, "Never again." And it wasn't like you had YouTube where 24 hours later you could just go on YouTube and see it for free. And that was really the last Tyson fight I got to watch live at the time, because it was just a waste of money.
Yep. I remember that. My dad used to be the same way with me. He used to say, "You're waiting 6 months now till it's on HBO. Sorry."
Yeah, I mean, that's it. The shit is expensive, and that's why it's great. Like, we have things like the network, and now we only pay $9.99 a month as opposed to paying these fucking pay-per-view prices. And not to mention the amount of stuff that we have. I mean, the young generation really gets to know Goldberg and go on the network and see all the stuff that we know and made us fall in love with Goldberg from the start. These young guys, kids, they don't know about Goldberg the way we know about Goldberg. And, I remember his debut, and it was nothing special. He knocked out somebody in the back as he was walking out, and he started having his minute matches, and it just built and built. And, the next thing you know, he became the guy that really was responsible for taking down WWF at the time for so long, because him and the NWO, it was just more exciting to watch than WWE Raw. And then, of course, things started to change, and we don't have to get into the history of the Monday Night Wars. But you know what? Maybe we should, since we are going to start with Survivor Series, maybe we should really just dive into Goldberg and Brock. And I got to be honest with you, Kat, I have very mixed emotions. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
I think, first off, the shock value of having the match be a squash in a minute and 26 seconds. It's always amazing to me when the entrances are longer than the match itself. But but I don't know. Like, the shock value of it being a squash is obviously getting all the craze and all the talk all over social media. It's trending worldwide, and it has been since Sunday. So on that point, all right, maybe they got it right. And I had said the week prior that I really thought Goldberg was going to be victorious, and you said the same. And so we got that, but were we cheated? 12 years in the making, we finally get Goldberg back for a minute and 26-second match with Brock Lesnar, the man that beat The Undertaker's streak, the man that has devoured the entire roster. And then Goldberg, after 12 years, squashes. And, and part of me thinks it was great. The other part of me says, were we cheated? Now, granted, he announced he's going to be at the Rumble. I have a feeling I know how that's going to go down, and I do think we're going to get match 3, Goldberg-Brock at Mania. Ultimately, I think Brock is going to cost Goldberg the Rumble and set that match up. And I think it's great because now we get to keep Goldberg around. Now, the rumors are flying that he wasn't 100%. He hurt himself on Raw, which when I heard that, I went back and watched Raw, and I really still can't, for the life of me, figure out how he hurt himself. But
exactly, where was the spot where he actually, something happened? You were throwing
he thrust one guy. I mean, he tossed one guy, and then the other ones were just a couple throws and kicks. I mean, it wasn't anything, crazy. So that's a little suspect to me.
I think he would have gotten more hurt a couple of weeks ago when he botched with Rusev.
Right, exactly, because there was more impact involved. Right.
Yeah.
So,
But to go to your question, I mean, yeah, it was to sound like a quote unquote on the authority. Was it best for business at the moment to let that happen? I guess it was a good. I mean, because like you even said, the holy shit factor. Everybody just went like, oh, no way. Like the same thing went.
Well, nobody saw it coming. I mean, there are people like us that saw Goldberg winning, but nobody ever expected it to be 1:26.
No, we blew up the chat room like within 30 seconds. We were all in there like, what the hell just happened?
Listen, we had a room full of people, and I can tell you, it wasn't as quiet as it was in my moment since Undertaker lost to Brock. It was that silence, mouths on the floor, you could hear a pin drop. That's how it was, because I couldn't believe it. And all I could say is, what the fuck just happened? If you sneezed, if you farted, you missed it.
Exactly. It happened too quick. But so from that perspective, to give the fans that moment and like to introduce the kids to Goldberg, I think it was a good call for the moment. This prolonging out, is it kind of an insult to Brock Lesnar? I think it was kind of a little bit too, because like you said, he took out Taker.
Well, granted, now, I wouldn't. Here's the problem with that theory. I mean, I see where you're going with it. But on the other hand, Brock and Goldberg are actually very good friends outside the ring. And I'm sure Brock was okay with the loss and the way it was done. And listen, let's be honest. Brock got a massive payday for 1:26. So
no, I didn't mean it was an insult to Brock in that sense. I mean, just for how much time he put in and been here for all this amount of time. It just kind of seemed like it was a jip to Brock at the same time, too, in that sense. That's what I meant. But no, as far as the two of them discussing in the back and having their conversations, they both probably went out and had a drink afterwards. So,
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, and I see what you're saying, and I agree with you. It's I really think it was truly the shock value. It worked. They got it. Did they get it right? Part of me says they did. The other part of me says, well, I don't know. I would have liked to see it go down. And should there be a match 3 and should it be at WrestleMania? There was some chat within our private chat room, Kat, Eric, and Vince and Ryan. And I seem to be in the minority here. Eric was kind of shitting on the whole thing. Kat, I think you actually concurred with that point. I think it is a WrestleMania caliber match, and I think match 3 needs to happen because we need to see the match that we should have seen. And I think the shock value, Rumble screw job, leading to Mania, the timeline works, the story works, the build will work, and it'll give Goldberg more time to get ready, more than 6 weeks. It'll give him, the rest of the year, well, a little more than that because the year ends in January, but you know what I'm saying. It gives him more time to prepare mentally and physically and be ready to throw down. And I think it's important for his son. His son, I mean, the look on his face, other than embarrassment, because he probably didn't want to be on TV, to see
Don't
his
take
dad.
my shirt off, Dad. Don't make me stand in the ring like this. I'm tired. I want to go to bed.
That's exactly the look that was on that kid's face. But,
that kid was like, I just want to go to bed. Okay, hi, I'm done. Bye. Not me on the camera. I think Heath Slater's kids look happier.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I think I think the more I talk it out and I think about it, I think it was a good decision, and I think a Mania match is great. I think that should be a Mania match. And listen, it's going to draw. I mean, you're going to get people that want to see it. You're going to sell. I mean, they always sell out, but you know what I'm saying? I think it's going to really escalate Mania this year. I think it was a good move overall, and it worked because we're still talking about it.
This is true. Like I said, until he announced that he was, and Eric was concurring with this also, until that he announced he was going to be in the 30-man, I was hoping that it was going to be at the Rumble, was going to be when they did the match. Well, why? Why? Because we We already know that we're going to have The Undertaker in WrestleMania, which is going to be a spotlight match because he always has this spotlight match. Which we still have to talk about The Undertaker in last week, too, because that was a little crazy.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that for sure, because I have some things to say about that, too.
Right. But, that's like his spotlight moment. We already know, we're going to have John Cena. We're going to have this on the card and everything like that. Are they going to be trying to bunch too many main events and big caliber matches in, like, the last hour and a half like they always try and do?
I was going to say, when do they not? This is WrestleMania. I mean... I get
that part. I don't know. Then there's the fear it's going to be another minute 26 again. I don't think it would do another minute 26, but that's just me.
I can sit here with the utmost confidence and say that I could not see that happening. I mean, they did it. It happened. It's like the famous Kevin Nash Hogan finger poke.
Finger poke of doom, yeah.
Well, right, and it hasn't happened since. It was great at the moment. It worked. You can't keep redoing it. So, no, I don't think it, especially at Mania, where, let's face it, they threw WrestleMania 20. I was there live. They botched it. So, they got to make up for it. And I think it's a good move.
That's true. That's a good point. You may have sold me.
Well, I am a salesman. Kind of what I do. All right. Well, so I think we've talked about Goldberg, Lesnar enough. Let's talk about. We'll do the women. Team Raw, Team SmackDown. What did you think of the match?
I thought it was actually pretty good, which actually for the fact because I'm very picky on the women because it's like I'm all for the women's generation, everything like that. I think they did a fairly good job. I think Nia Jax just spoken.
You're cutting in and out again.
Am I better now?
Yes.
Okay. I said I was really impressed with Nia Jax. I loved the Charlotte Bayley thing at the end once they won. I've been waiting for that.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that. That was definitely well done. And especially, they let them work together. They got the win, and then it went down. So yeah, no, I enjoyed that. I agree with you. Nia Jax impresses me more and more every time I see her. Because I got to be honest, I wasn't that sold on her. I mean, she's a big girl. She's agile for her size. I give her that. She's actually beautiful. But at the same time, she just didn't do anything for me in the ring. But as she's with the other girls and it's not squashes and it's actually matches, she's impressing me more and more each time.
Yeah, when they had her doing with the jobber story, it wasn't working at all.
Well, it never does. Like, it works at the moment, and then it just gets too repetitive and boring. It's the same with Strowman. When they were doing the squashes, it's like, all right, dude, nobody's going to fucking beat him. You can give 5 of these scrubs in there, and he's going to eat them all. You know what I mean?
This isn't WWF Superstars at 12 o'clock noon on Saturdays anymore.
Oh, man, that was the best, wasn't it?
It was, but they were always facing jobbers every week. But that was the best time to watch this stuff.
Well, right, and to be honest, we didn't know any better back then. Like, that's how it was done. You know what I mean? So for us, it was just wrestling, and then you had American Gladiators after that. I mean, it was just a great Saturday. And then we had that other one, that Knights one, right after that.
Yes. Oh my God, I can't even remember that. And then you could also even switch over, and you can get, if you went to Channel 11, you can get Chloe.
That's right. See, there you go. Overall, I gotta say, I was very impressed with the entire pay-per-view. Overall, I thought it was really well done. It was spaced out right. The booking was right. The finishes were great. I really had no complaints. Ms. Sami Zayn.
That was going to be my complaint.
Talk to me.
I so angry. All right, I loved the Maurice angle that she's back. The Miz doing some of the best plugs and some of the best storyline talking he's done in years, like especially like when he did the Daniel Bryan thing a couple of months ago on the Smackdown app.
I agree. Phenomenal on the microphone there.
But this storyline stuff with after that whole great match, because that match was absolutely amazing, for it to be almost ironically enough, especially as they were in Canada, like almost like a mini Montreal screw job.
Did it really piss you off? Are you really angry about it?
Yes, I actually was, especially when the fact that even last night with him again with having to face Braun Strowman because of his loss, I was like, oh my God,
So
this is big.
like angry, pissed off to the point where like you were like visibly pissed off at that moment.
Yeah, for about 30 seconds. If I ever, I wouldn't mind jumping on Total Divas one day, pulling Maurice's extensions off, but that's okay.
But see, that's my point. They got you to feel that raw emotion, and that means they did their job, and they did it well.
100%. Absolutely.
Now, granted, I'm with you. I just think it's beyond stupid. The booking of this whole thing, this great story of I'm going to retire if I don't win. You give it to me for a month, and well, now I'm not going to leave because that stip is gone, and now I lose the belt back to Miz. And that's not to take anything away from Miz. I truly thought Sami Zayn was going to win. I didn't really care either way. But at the same time, it's just there's too much flip-flopping. It's my same complaint with the women's title on Raw. It's the constant flip-flopping. Like, let somebody have a reign with the title and have a run.
Yeah, and they can't and that was the whole point of it, though, because if it was Dolph Ziggler and Miz, then the belt was staying on SmackDown. So then you put Sami Zayn in there for maybe the title to go over to Raw, and then they still let him retain it.
Right.
It didn't make any sense. And even, like you said, the taking away of Dolph Ziggler with the belt so quickly, it made absolutely no sense whatsoever. I still am not understanding what they're trying to do with the Intercontinental belt. I'm really not. I
don't get it. It's like, why? What has Dolph Ziggler done? What do we know? What do we not know? The guy works his ass off. He's one of the best talents you have in that ring and on the microphone. He is a threat in a positive way. He sells better than anyone else in the business next to Randy Orton, in my opinion. And
they gave him the whole thing, letting him be the sole survivor a couple of years ago. They gave him this huge run with that and tanked it.
Yeah, I just don't understand why they don't feel comfortable. I know back in the day he was getting injured a lot, and that was a concern, but he's had a solid run without injury lately. I don't understand why there's no faith in him to let him run with that belt.
And he's got the look that they keep talking about that they want with them too.
Yeah.
He has the ability, and he's got the look.
He's not
everyone keeps talking about Roman Reigns. It has to be the look. Well, guess what? He's got it, and he can move.
Well, you can't really compare the two, because the look they're talking about is not so much with Reigns, not so much the fact that he's a good-looking guy. It's more Vince likes that he's good-looking and the size. Roman Reigns.
No, I'm not talking about the look on the eyes. I'm talking about the look in general of the physique and everything. I don't grade wrestlers on if their faces are cute or not. Can't do it.
Oh, come on. There's been a few.
Honestly, true. Shawn Michaels is one of my favorites, but at least Shawn Michaels had the look.
Well, and he told you that in his own music.
Yes, he did.
He's got the looks to drive the girls wild.
Yep, exactly. Well, actually, Sensational Sherry said it first.
Oh, that's true. But we don't need to screech it like she did. So, I guess Team Raw. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. That was an interesting finish, no? Okay.
Hang on 1 second. I lost it for one.
So for those of you just checking us out, Kat and I are about to break down Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. Very controversial ending. So we're Kat, I was just saying Team Raw, Team SmackDown, controversial ending. What were your thoughts on that one? It was a great match, and then very controversial in the end. And what are you thinking?
I thought that was probably one of the better matches. I loved the length of it and everything, but the whole Shield reunion was probably the highlight of the whole thing for me.
That was great, wasn't it? Well, I want to bring this up now, and I don't want to completely shift gears off of Survivor Series, so we have to make sure we dial back because there's still a couple matches that we need to talk about. But when we're talking about the finish to that particular match. And you bring up the Shield reunion, which of course was great. SmackDown Live right before Survivor Series, we got the return of The Undertaker, where he said probably one of the most classic things you've ever heard, which is that I'm back to digging holes and taking souls. And I thought that was a great moment, great line. They better make a T-shirt. And he's definitely back. I'm also hearing rumors of an actual title run, which would imply AJ Styles feud. However, with that being said, hey, did I lose you?
Yeah, sorry about that. That was my fault.
All right. Well, I just I'll recap real quick. So here I'm talking about SmackDown prior to Survivor Series. Undertaker digging holes and taking souls. He's back, and he made a threat that whoever cost Team SmackDown the match, if they lose, will have to answer to him. Now, I'm also hearing rumors of Undertaker being back and getting a title run, which will lead to him holding the title till Mania and dropping to John Cena and then retiring. Now, if that holds true, he's got a feud with AJ Styles to get that title. But wasn't Dean Ambrose the one that was responsible for the loss while reuniting with the Shield?
Yeah, actually he was. So this is going to be definitely an interesting storyline coming into that, because like you said, even the whole thing with The Undertaker, we don't know what he's going to do.
Right. And who is he going to hold responsible? Because in my eyes, it wasn't AJ Styles, it was Dean Ambrose. Right.
It was definitely Dean Ambrose, because he came back out and caused all that mayhem and everything that caused the new Wyatt family, to win.
Right. So now the rumor is that Undertaker is back, and they are talking about possibly a final run with the title, which he would possibly win at Royal Rumble and then hold until Mania and then drop to John Cena, where Cena will tie Flair's record, and Undertaker will officially retire. Now, if that holds true, then this feud with AJ Styles isn't going to last very long, which means AJ Styles is probably going to drop the title fairly soon. So,
like in another month or so, the Rumble.
Right. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this is all going to play out now, because, how do you choose AJ Styles? In my opinion, the only way to do this story now is to hold AJ responsible. But I don't see how you don't hold Ambrose responsible, unless you just use it as you were the champion, you were the leader, team lost,
you were the leader,
you're responsible.
To hold the accountability for the fact that you were supposed to be the one to do it, because I can't see him, because then you have the whole face-on-face thing if you have him going after Dean Ambrose.
Right. Well, now let me ask you another question. Hey, Eric, what's up, buddy?
Hey.
So now let me ask you another question, Kat, because this kind of ties into it now. So, we're in agreement that Undertaker looked phenomenal on SmackDown, right?
Yes, absolutely.
He looked to be in phenomenal shape. He had the hair growing back. He looked good, right?
Definitely.
Right. So
that's
now,
probably the better. Absolutely.
Now, does it worry you at all, a match against AJ Styles? You got two very different styles of wrestling. You got a fast, high-flying, technical guy, and then you got Undertaker, who's smash-mouth and old, and as good as he looks, how good is he going to look in the ring, and how bad is this match going to be?
You're talking about the exact conversation I just had with my husband the other night. I don't know how he's going to be able to handle that, because he is super fast. He's on a super adrenaline run right now, AJ Styles. And you got to be very careful in the ring with The Undertaker. Like, at least even last year when they did it with Shane, Shane's not really a full-blown wrestler.
Right. Right. And you knew it was going to be more of a brawling situation. Plus, it was inside of a cell. So it's anything goes. It's like, can they make this anything goes as well? Well, of course they can. But is that going to make a difference? AJ is still AJ. And, I mean, listen, all it'll take is one tombstone. I get it, and I can see exactly how it ends. AJ Styles with the flying elbow caught into a tombstone. Game over.
Exactly.
Eric, what are your thoughts on this?
That's interesting. So But here's the thing: I'm hearing different things where they're going to be fighting for the title at the Rumble, or they're going to be fighting for the title at Mania, or just fighting each other.
I will tell you what I've heard, and then take this for what it is, because we all know in this business everything will change 25,000 times over. What I'm hearing now is that Taker beats AJ for the title at Rumble, holds it through Mania, and then fights John Cena at Mania. Cena ties the record, Undertaker loses and retires, and that's his final match. And it'll be the Undertaker-John Cena match that they've been talking about doing for a while. So obviously now he's going to have a feud. And what I'm saying is, and what Kat's saying is, they're obviously going to claim that that AJ is going to be responsible for Team SmackDown losing and set up that rivalry. And we're going to let one last run with the title on Taker. Now, I'm excited to see Taker get one last run, and if there's anyone that deserves it, it's Undertaker. But a feud and a match against AJ Styles scares the shit out of me, because they're on two different playing fields right now.
Yeah.
You know, Undertaker looked great shape. Looked like he could go. Looked like the Undertaker old. But age is still an age. He's still up there. He's not going to be able to move. And is he going to be able to hang with AJ Styles? And that, quite frankly, scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, no, I see your concern. AJ is still, I mean, you know, people are still mad at him for, you know, a couple of botched Styles clashes and whatnot. You know, whether they're his fault or not, you know, I get it. And I mean, not to compare AJ to Shawn Michaels, but I feel like he's versatile enough, like Shawn was, to put together a good match with Taker. But I get what you're saying as far as like the risks go.
Yeah, I don't want anything to jeopardize the legacy of Undertaker. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Like, and that's my biggest fear. I don't want it to be embarrassing. I don't want it to, you know, I don't want us to sit there and be like, damn, he shouldn't have come back. You know what I mean? Like, year after year, we kind of say that to ourselves. Maybe not out loud, but we all say it. And then he puts on a hell of a performance, and we're like, man, he looked great. How many times are we going to be able to say that?
That's true, because the match against Brock was an exception. You know, he got hurt early in, and that just didn't go as planned.
And it still wasn't a bad match.
No, it was fine, you know, but it wasn't like, you know, but even
it wasn't
his matches,
5 stars, but
no, but I mean, it wasn't his matches with Triple H or Shawn Michaels or, you know, or any of these other guys. Did you guys touch upon Goldberg yet?
Yeah, we already did, but you're more than welcome to give your thoughts. And
well, I just had this hypothetical I wanted to throw out for you. Now, Goldberg, let's just say, right? He said he's putting his hat in the Rumble. He's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Now, the odds are it's going to lead to Brock, you know, and him brawling within it, you know, and then reigniting the feud, and then that, you know, goes on to Mania, which I am not for, by the way.
Oh, we already mentioned that you weren't, and not only am I in disagreement with you, I think I have sold Kat to disagree with you as well. And we mentioned that you were against it, and
I just, you know what? I just feel like it's a waste of Goldberg. There's so many more people that he could be fighting, except, you know, instead of Lesnar fucking again. But anyway.
Yeah, but dude, you can't consider this last fight a match. It was a minute and 26 seconds. So we really, in some respects, were cheated out of seeing a full match, which now we'll get, because Goldberg will also have more
considering
time.
The hype.
Right, and he'll have more time to physically and mentally prepare for Mania. But at the same time, we'll get the match that we all wanted to see. I said to Kat when we opened the show, I said, that match reminded me of ordering a Mike Tyson fight in the 80s and it being over in 30 seconds. You know, the entrances were longer than the match.
I just don't want Goldberg Lesnar again at Mania. That's like, look, we went to WrestleMania 29 and it was awesome and all, but I felt it was like rematch Mania. You know, you had Rock, you had, you know, Rock, Cena, you know, again, and Triple H Brock again, which nobody wanted to see, including me. Anyway, this is all besides the point. What I wanted to say was, let's say Goldberg again, hypothetically, wins the Royal Rumble. All right. Now, is he signed exclusively to Raw, or can he do as he pleases?
That's a good question.
That's a good question, but I think I know the answer. And based on the promo where he said, I ran into Stephanie, and Stephanie said, do I have one more run in me for the title? And so based on the fact that all his conversations were with Stephanie, I'm assuming he's exclusive to Raw.
That's what I thought, considering he's only been back on Raw since he came back. But I'm just saying, throwing it out there, he's a superstar that's kind of not necessarily exclusively signed to either brand. So, I mean, that could open up a lot of possibilities.
Listen, Eric, I totally understand your point on why you feel the way you do about not wanting him another Mania. The fact that there are so many other guys.
I would just rather do Brock versus Goldberg 3 at the February pay-per-view and get it over with, and have somebody interfere on whoever's behalf, and then set up 2 separate feuds going into Mania.
I think and I could be wrong, but I seriously think they're purposely they're waiting for Mania to give Goldberg as much time as possible to prepare for the match, because it's going to be at least 15 minutes, at least, and he's going to get tossed around a lot, and his body's going to take a lot of bumps that he hasn't been taking. And I think they want to give him as much time as possible. In the Rumble, he's probably not going to be in there all too long. No. Because I'm pretty sure Brock is going to cost him the Rumble, and that's going to set up the match for Mania. That's how I'm looking at it. Yeah. I don't even think Brock's going to be in the Rumble. I think he's just going to cost Goldberg the Rumble. Yeah,
but much like 2004 Rumble, exactly the opposite. But I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't get on board with them at Mania. I'm sorry.
Listen, you're entitled to your opinion. Just because you're wrong doesn't mean anything. But listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
You know what? I'm on cloud 9 from last night. I saw Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden. I know this has nothing to do with this show, but
yes, thank you for switching gears.
But I'm just, dude, I'm extremely tired and delirious. Like, work was like weird to me today. Like, I was not functioning at all. But well worth it, and just to share that good time with the family was really all that matters.
Well, that's awesome, man. Glad you had a good time.
To throw that out there. I'm wearing the shirt,
So
he's in a New York state of mind.
So listen, we have half an hour, and we have quite a bit more to get into. I do want to close as close to 8 as possible, because I got to see how SmackDown's going to start, and I'm pretty damn sure it's going to start with The Undertaker. So I think maybe we should jump gears to Raw briefly, and then I think towards the end we should really do a quick recap of NXT. I don't want to leave them out, but Raw. I thought Raw was actually pretty decent all the way through. Enzo Amore, that segment was absolutely fucking hilarious.
Loved him. I just wish.
Oh, Eric, you didn't get to see it, did you?
I didn't see Raw at all because I was at the concert, and then I flew back and had to work today, so I had no time whatsoever. So I read what happened, but All
right, so dude, Enzo somehow gets out of the shower, his clothes are missing. So Enzo has no shame in his game and starts walking the hallways completely naked.
I wish that screen wasn't bleeped. That's all I'm saying.
There was no towel. There was just a filtered area by the Pepe, and
he wasn't playing this.
And he's walking down the halls, and people are there. And he's like, "How you doing? How you doing?" Like, just walking, whatever. And then he runs into Titus O'Neil, who yells at him and tells him to throw some damn clothes on, and then he runs into Lana. And Lana's kind of checking him out, and he's kind of checking her out. And then Rusev comes over, flipping out. Why are you standing in front of my wife naked? Go get some clothes on. I'm going to kick your ass in the ring. He said something about, you're going to have a big problem. And he's looking down. And then Enzo says, well, that doesn't seem to be a problem to me. And then the segment ends and Enzo's just standing in the hallway by himself, and he looks in the camera. He's like, I don't know. We got all these haters. We got some haters. And it was absolutely hilarious. But he did get his ass demolished in the match. But yeah, what do you think, Kat? I thought Raw overall, I thought was pretty decent. Started with Goldberg's announcement being in the Rumble, which made me fucking happy that he's going to hang around. But overall, what do you think? I thought the main event was great too.
The main event was great. The whole show, actually, from start to finish, for a change, was actually really good. It didn't for being the 3-hour soap opera that it normally is. You actually didn't want to change the channel this time.
Right. It kept you engaged all the way through. The booking was fantastic last night.
I agree. And the whole New Day segment talking about Demolition was actually pretty interesting too.
Yeah, I just hope that doesn't mean they're bringing back Demolition.
Maybe it's setting up for Hall of Fame, though. It could be setting up for Hall of Fame. You never know.
Listen, I'm all for them being in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, have you seen the way those two look? I mean, they don't look like they can go anymore.
Mash looks like the Repo Man. What can I say?
Or the Black Top
Man. I love the Repo Man.
I just
had a great song.
Repo Man.
Oh, it was great. So, I think Raw overall was pretty good all the way through. There were some definitely great spots. I love what they're doing with Strowman. I'm getting more sold on him too. There was a time that he did absolutely nothing for me, and I'm kind of getting sold on Strowman. I'm becoming a fan.
But he demolished Sami Zayn.
He's such a beast, and he's so agile for his size.
He is. And that's a refreshing change to see a big guy that actually is like that.
Yeah, he's starting to impress the hell out of me, and I know Vince McMahon is like head over heels in love with this guy.
Yeah. Well, how many wrestlers has he had over the years that are big, huge guys that actually can move across the ring?
Right, that's true. That's very true. But yeah, so Raw, I think overall was good. I'm excited to see the way that's going. Let me tell you, Eric, one thing that if there's anything you go back and you do watch, you need to watch in its entirety. You have to watch the entire episode of Jericho's highlight reel. He has a highlight reel because he's going to call out who he feels is the reason that Team Raw lost. And it goes from there. And it is absolutely amazing. It is done so well, and it is hilarious. So definitely go back and watch it. I don't want to say too much about it because that's not something I want to ruin for you. You'll be very impressed. It was well done.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
I think I'm going to love it.
Oh, you will love it. Trust me. So,
and if you don't, you're on the list.
Hey, listen, you would want to be on this list, my friend. I'm telling you, what a great performance by both of them. It was great. But, well, it's 7:40. Let's. I think we should definitely do a little NXT takeover. First of all, I want to say, as usual, top notch all the way through. Great fucking show. And big ups to Triple H, man. What him and Albert and Shawn Michaels now and all the guys down there, what they're doing is just absolutely phenomenal. Every single show, every single match is spot on. I mean, this is really in no particular order. The match for me that stole the show was the tag title match.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry because I'm horrible with all their names. Dawson, I guess, and the other one lost the tag titles. Those guys, those young guys, well deserved. The match was edge of your seat, the entire fucking match. And what a great finish. It was a great match. It ended well. They didn't ruin it with a horrible finish. And you know something? Very rarely do you see a horrible finish in an NXT match.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's true. And 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 then I know it's semantics, but I feel like the right guys won. I think you'd agree.
Yeah.
Because their last match they had together was also great. And that told a story. But this was their time. It was time to give DIY the belts. And yeah, I mean, look, I've been following like Ciampa since like Ring of Honor, and I didn't know much about Gargano, but NXT really sold me on him, and I think they're awesome together.
Yeah, the chemistry is there. The crowd was behind them. I mean, the crowd in general, both for Survivor Series and NXT, were fantastic. And there were other great matches that we can definitely talk about, but we got to dive into the shock. Well, let's talk about the entrance. Shinsuke with what, 6 or 7 violinists,
multiple violinists this time,
playing different parts of his song, walking him down to the ring. What a fucking entrance, man! I mean, I am a huge Shinsuke fan. I've been a huge Shinsuke fan for a very long time, even prior to his Shinsuke days. I'm a huge fan, and the entrance was just great. And we'll talk about another entrance that we all have already talked about. That was just such a glorious entrance, and we'll get to that. But so Shinsuke loses back to Samoa Joe, and this cat goes back into what we were just talking about earlier with our frustration about the women's title and now the IC. You can throw the NXT title in that mix too, because now you give Shinsuke 1 month. I'm hoping that
it's 3 months.
Well, yeah, but 1 title defense. Let's put it that way.
1 time, yeah.
So you're telling me he's not getting called up? Because that's the feeling I get. They're going to pull the trigger and pull him up. But then on the other hand, and I posed this question to Kat earlier, how does someone like Samoa Joe not get very frustrated that Shinsuke, who came in so far after me, is going to get the call up? And this is speculation. Nobody's heard anything about him being called up. But if he's not being called up, then why the fuck did you give him title defense reign?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Something where they're going to have like some kind of Tokyo show where Shinsuke maybe wins it back again, which would be dumb because it's, again, it's hot potatoing the title, and I hate that shit.
And it's starting to happen with all the fucking belts. Yeah. I mean, the only ones that have really been sacred are the tag team, with the New Day breaking all the fucking records. But I mean, What the fuck? You're right. I mean, Eric, we don't agree on a lot half the time when it comes to wrestling, but this we agree on wholeheartedly. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. It's Shinsuke. He's fucking awesome. Now, Grant, I mean, listen, I love Joe, and I'm okay with him being champ. It was just way too soon. So somebody better be getting called up to the main roster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
no,
I hope it's.
I did not see that coming.
Nobody saw that coming.
None of us did. None of us called that at all.
I mean, but you can also look at it this way. The WWE got 2 big shocks on both shows, NXT and Survivor Series. The shock of Goldberg winning in 1 minute and 26 seconds, and the shock of Shinsuke dropping the title in his first defense. So for shock value reasons, I guess if that's what they were looking for, they did a great job because they got it. They succeeded.
They had 2 successful shows this time, definitely.
Boy, I'll tell you what, these poor referees are getting confused by all the fans chanting 10 after every fucking count.
I tell you what, I'm a big fan of him too.
I love Ty Dillinger.
Bobby Roode, what an entrance with the choir.
Oh my God.
Do you guys remember, and Kat, you weren't with us, but you were listening. I was very against, I'm a very big Bobby Roode fan, and I've been a very big Bobby Roode fan since the very Asylum early days in TNA.
Since Team Canada.
Right, since Team Canada. I've always been a huge fan. I was very much against this whole glorious gimmick. I thought it was fucking stupid. I hated everything about it. He should be Bobby Roode. And I am hook, line, and sinker completely flopped. and I am a huge fan of this glorious gimmick. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. The entrances are great. He's telling great stories. He's great on the microphone. The match that he had with the Perfect 10 was phenomenal. And Bobby Roode, of course, got the victory, which, I mean, Magoo would have seen that coming, but, you know.
I'll tell you what, though, that match made Ty Dillinger, too.
100%. 100%.
He looked fantastic, and Rude didn't look weak at all either. So, they had chemistry. They worked together, and, yeah, this is great for Bobby Roode. I love Bobby Roode, and the match was glorious.
I tell you, man, the one thing I'm praying for more than anything, I want to see James Storm come back, and I want to see a Beer Money reunion in NXT.
Beer Money, yes.
I want to see James Storm riding down on the Boozer Cruiser with Bobby Roode standing there. That's, to me, I mean, listen, we all know, the three of us especially, we've been around a long time and we've seen it all. Beer Money, for me, is one of the top best tag teams I have ever seen, hands down. Chemistry, gimmick, both phenomenal in the ring, both phenomenal on the microphone, good as heels, good as face. I mean, they were a home run.
How great would that be if it was to make a WrestleMania moment?
Absolutely.
That would be like the great WrestleMania moment for Beer Money to show up.
That would be like sex.
Let's just hope they don't call them alcohol currency,
Yeah, right. Yeah, can you imagine, like, is that what they're going to fucking, do to that? Could you imagine? Because, I mean, I wonder, was TNA smart enough to own Beer Money, or could Vince actually take it?
And speaking of
that's a really
thinking, yeah.
Speaking of teams reuniting, and you probably touched upon it because it was Survivor Series, but the Shield moment.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a little late on that one. We definitely touched on that.
I figured as much, but man.
Well, and it was a great moment, but that's
an NGAC moment.
But that's why I was saying to Kat, how does Undertaker put all the blame on AJ when, in my opinion, Dean Ambrose is the reason Team SmackDown, won the match.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And to think, AJ and Ambrose, like specifically those two, were fighting amongst each other, and that almost cost the entire Team SmackDown the match, and which we'll touch on, like the whole Undertaker thing, because he had said on SmackDown last week that he's blaming, he's going to be blaming somebody. He's coming after somebody, but
yeah, we touched on that too.
But yeah, you're right. Ambrose was the one to blame as far as SmackDown winning, and how weird is it that the survivors were Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton?
Well, right. I mean, who would have ever seen that? And that was the other thing too. I mean, Randy Orton sacrificing himself for Bray Wyatt, I thought was very interesting. And I will tell you too, you guys all heard, and this kind of shit I love. And I've seen it with Triple H and now Randy Orton. I'm sure you guys saw.
With Shane.
Yeah, when Shane got kind of carted out, his son was like very concerned, like thought like something was seriously wrong, and Orton went over to him and broke kayfabe and was like, he's going to be fine, everything's cool, and then ran back and continued the match. And I thought that was fucking very cool of Randy Orton to, because sometimes, in certain situations, that's like, that could kill your career, but I'm sure it being Shane's son and everything else, I thought it was a great move. I thought it was very cool.
Classy, yeah, absolutely.
He's taking time off again now too, apparently, Randy Orton.
Well, he just had a daughter today.
Oh, the baby came today? Are you sure that happened today?
That's what I saw on Twitter.
Oh, okay, because I knew that she was due shortly, and that was the reason he was going to take some time off to be there for the baby. But that's why I also heard that he was going to be written off. I guess he's just going to disappear now?
Yeah, that's a little weird considering they just brought him into this whole storyline. And I'll tell you what, initially I wasn't sold on him. I'm like, that's weird. Him and the Wyatt family. I'm like, that doesn't. It's interesting.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And you know what? It's Orton. And I feel like Orton is the kind of guy, he can make anything work. You know? And Bray Wyatt with his gimmick, I mean, there's so much they can do with him. And I just really hope this is a sign that, I mean, he needs to be in world title contention. This man, I mean, there's just so much you can do with Bray Wyatt. And they've been screwing this up for so long, in my opinion. And something's got to give, because that man deserves some gold for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm hoping that maybe this whole partnership with Orton kind of like, because Orton, you know, he's been around a while, you know, and he's still young, where he can kind of take a back seat for a little bit and make Bray Wyatt, you know, like Bray can. I almost feel like the Wyatt family could be even more, you know, powerful than ever with Orton at the helm.
Well, I don't know that he'd ever be at the helm. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, we don't want Orton to be his little bitch boy or anything. But I just think that it's a powerful alliance, and it could bring
100%.
Bray. It could bring Bray up there.
Oh, yeah. No, without question. And I'm sure Orton has some influence backstage with Vince and everyone else, you know, for being there as long as he has. I'm sure he has some say. And, you know, if he's overly impressed, you know, he could say to Vince, like, you got to go with this guy.
I mean, you could almost do a similar storyline to Evolution, where this time Orton would be playing the role that Batista had, where Batista won the Rumble, and then Triple H was like, okay, you go for the title on the other brand, and then we could reign supreme. And then, you know, Batista was like, you know, no, I'm fighting you, you know,
right.
That kind of thing.
I just backtrack for you guys. He did have a girl this morning. Eric is completely right. Brooklyn Rose was born at 6:35 this morning.
That's a pretty name.
I like that name. Well, congratulations to Randy Orton, man. That's fucking awesome.
So then,
I know what it's like to have a baby girl, man. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I wonder what they're going to say now, or they're just going to pretend like we don't notice that he's not there.
Yeah, and then Rowan is still. And
Well, we played by.
And Rowan is still out with injury for quite a while, so.
Yeah, he had a big surgery, I think.
Thank God Luke Harper's back, though.
Oh, I love Luke Harper. That's another big guy that can do it all. That's another big guy that can do it all. I'm a big fan of Luke Harper. Big fan of Luke Harper.
That was my favorite taunt in the game. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that too. And I like the Gator roll. Hey, speaking of the game, in case anyone out there didn't know, the next download is available in shop. It's the Legends Pack. And you get Tatanka, Brutus Beefcake, Eddie Guerrero, and a few others. So if you have the All Access Pass, it's already paid for. So just install it.
When was the last time you saw the Barber in a game?
I don't know, but I'll best believe before I go to sleep, I'm having a match with Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
There's going to be some cutting and strutting.
Oh, you best believe. And Eddie Guerrero. I mean, it's great to have him back in a video game, so I'm very excited for that. But, yeah, so. All right, well, let's go around the room. Eric, you got any final thoughts, anything you want to get out there?
Two great shows, but come see us. Come see Tag Me a Date. I'll be representing at WrestleCade this weekend.
Yes, WrestleCade.
And where you can our brand new site is just days away from being complete. We've tested it out. It looks good. It feels good. It works good. Anything you could want in a dating site, and especially this one for wrestling fans. And that's why we did this, you know, to bring wrestling fans together and to make wrestling night your date night.
Yeah, you know, just to touch on that a little, some of the new stuff that this is the way it should have been from day one. And you come back, check it out. There's going to be easier instant messaging now. You can search somebody, tag that you like them. They go right into an instant messenger. You can instant message them right away. There's going to be Twitter feed. Anybody that's tweeting that's on the site, you're going to see their tweets. There's going to be blogs that are wrestling related. It's user friendly. It looks great. It feels great. It's going to be great. This is we put a lot of time and energy into this for you guys. And we do have an Android app that will be coming shortly thereafter. And then after that, we will finally have the Apple app. And we hope that everyone jumps on board. Join the revolution. It's going to be amazing. And we are days away. My goal is to have it live up and running at WrestleCade. So that's the deadline we're giving ourselves. And we're doing our best. But I promise you, we're not putting it out unless I feel that it is 100% perfect. No error messages, no issues, easy, user-friendly. TagMeADate.com. And it's completely free.
And not only that, we're bringing back Tag Me a Date, the chocolate bar.
Oh, yes. The good old chocolate bar. Kat, you got any final words?
I'm just going to go off the website because I thought that was always awesome. I think that is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
But,
And
definitely looking forward to Smackdown, though. It's going to be totally a great show tonight, and that's very excited for that.
yeah, I am with you. I think it's going to be a great show. And all right, well, it's about the top of the hour. We're going to cut it a couple minutes short only because we all want to get ready and see what's going to happen. I have a strong feeling SmackDown's starting with The Undertaker, and I don't want to miss this. So on behalf of Eric and Kat and myself, the Tag Me a Date crew, Vince, get better, my friend. Hopefully we'll see you next week. And Brian, I don't know what happened to you this evening, but I hope all is well. I know you're working, getting ready for Thanksgiving. So everyone, every Tuesday night, the War Report podcast. We hope to see you next week. Make sure you check us out on YouTube. All you have to do is put in the search bar, Tag Me a Date. That is one word, and you will pull up our page, like our videos, like all our promos, and we hope to see you next week. Take care.